China just made a historic announcement. Starting May 1st, it will scrap all import duties for 53 African nations. Zero tariffs on anything. Beijing calls it a gesture of solidarity, an opportunity for African economic growth. But look closer and the picture gets complicated. This move didn't come out of nowhere. Across the Atlantic, the US is doing exactly the opposite. It is slapping tariffs on African goods and letting the future of its own 25-year-old duty-free deal with Africa, AGOA, hang by a thread. China saw the opening. Total China-Africa trade hit nearly $350 billion last year. It's a record, but Africa runs a $102 billion deficit with China. It buys far more than it sells. And that's not gonna change anytime soon. Here's the problem: most African exports to China are raw materials, such as oil, copper, cobalt. Those were already largely duty-free. So for most of the continent, the practical change is smaller than the headline suggests. The goods that would genuinely benefit, processed food, manufactured items, textiles, are precisely those which African economies struggle to produce at scale. So what is China really doing? Many analysts see this as a canny geopolitical maneuver.
China is trying to put or to place itself as a better partner than US and perhaps to some extent than the Africa's traditional partners, which are the European countries.
Washington, after years accusing Beijing of exploiting Africa, is now the one imposing tariffs and cutting aid. And then there's the message behind it all. Take Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, the last African country still recognizing Taiwan. For China, that's a red line. The signal could not be clearer. If you want your tariffs lifted, you align yourself with Beijing's diplomatic priorities. Okay, so who benefits? First, China, which positions itself as a good friend of Africa at very little extra cost. Then, Chinese investors in Africa, who are already the ones typically exporting raw materials to the motherland.
There will be a lot of Chinese investors coming to Africa in the agricultural sector, especially in the cash products like tobacco, like tea, fruits and citrus, and etc. And they'll be just coming, farm, take the produce back to China for processing, and they distribute to the market.
Some African exporters will see real gains. Moroccan semiconductor producers, South African winemakers, and a handful of others. But for zero tariffs to truly transform Africa's economic position, the continent needs more than open doors. It needs things to sell.